Hello all, and let's talk some Night of Champions. So, leading up to this mighty pay-per-view, I bitched and I whined and I moaned. And if you follow me on Twitter, you saw that I bitched and moaned even more about this. But the whole build-up, the fact that Daniel Bryan was not, was continually on his back. Finally, the last Raw, he finally didn't end up on his back, but that whole last segment came off more like it was about Big Show than it was about Daniel Bryan. Not good. So I said, and I've said this for a while, that for this to go on, the thing that has to happen now is for Bryan to win the title at Night of Champions, which really you don't want because it kind of short-sides the pay-per-view or the storyline, which really could go. Maybe you could get it to WrestleMania. You definitely could get it to Royal Rumble, without question in my mind. And so that was one of my main issues with this. But there was something else in the fact that we found out that Dusty Rhodes would be on Raw, this coming Raw, the one that will be tomorrow or today, whenever you see this, and that we have all of these intersecting storylines about the corporation. Now, the corporation had basically all of these faces that wanted to have revenge on it and couldn't get revenge on it. So me, because if you will want me to mark out like a silly little bitch over anything in the world in pro wrestling, this is what you do. You are WWE and you actually do a War Games. It's almost perfect. Now, don't get me wrong. I know Vince McMahon hates War Games. I know the fact that there's only like maybe a 10% chance all of this could lead to a War Games. But my idea, I thought, no, you know what? Daniel Bryan could still lose. It wouldn't be good. It would still hurt him. And then they could do a War Games where all the faces finally get their revenge, and then maybe Survivor Series, Daniel Bryan could get the title, which is really where they should have won it anyways. Is probably Survivor Series before you start having shenanigans. I think we're still going to have shenanigans after tonight. But anyways, that was kind of my thing leading up to this pay-per-view. Now, the other thing is that we basically got two surprise matches on this pay-per-view because they hadn't booked the whole pay-per-view. They hadn't announced what the whole pay-per-view was going to be leading up to the pay-per-view, which is kind of weird. Let me explain why, and then we'll get into the actual talking about the pay-per-view. Some of you probably already know this. The WWE does this. It's called the Fan Council. I am actually part of the Fan Council. And what it is basically just a survey thing. They send you surveys. They send you surveys on Raw. They send you surveys on TV. They send you surveys on products. They send you surveys on pay-per-views. Yes, they even sent me surveys. They send me pretty much a survey on Total Divas every week. And it pisses me off because every time I go, I didn't watch the show. And then it asks me more questions about as though I watched the show. And it's like, I hate the show. I don't like reality TV. Go away. Anyways, we've already ranted about that. But one of the questions when it comes to the pay-per-views that they ask is how important is it to know the full card, before the pay-per-view. And magically, when they started doing this, all of a sudden, and if you've noticed, they've gotten a lot better about there being pretty much a full card every time you're on a pay-per-view, or at least it seems that way. Maybe they add one more match, but for the most part, there's pretty much a full card on a pay-per-view. And this is the first one I can remember where it wasn't just like a thrown-together pay-per-view like we used to get, where it was two matches and everything else was just kind of thrown together, and then you're going to watch the two-match show, which this was a two-match show, or was, I believe, was the intention of it to be a two-match show. That said, this pay-per-view was not very good. I would call this pay-per-view okay. And the only reason I call it okay is because it's really hard for me to call a pay-per-view with at least one great match on it bad. But there was some horrible stuff on this pay-per-view. This literally was, and I've seen lots of people already say this, it was like a Raw. Very much so. We opened with a promo. Well, if you watched the pregame, you opened with a tag team turmoil match, which really was too fast for anything to really take shape, even though some of the stuff was good, but it's still, it wasn't anything that's going to make you go, woo! But we opened with a promo, and it was a promo where, let's see, Triple H basically was cutting a cool heel promo, more of a face promo, including cutting a promo on Paul Heyman. And it's kind of funny because Conan, yes, that Conan, had just done an interview with Bryan Alvarez and Dave Meltzer, talking about the fact that you have heels who cut these cool heel promos, and then it hurts the babyface. It makes it so that the fans are chanting for the heel as well. And yes, you're always going to have fans that chant for the heel, but you've got this whole split thing, and it doesn't come off right, and the heel basically isn't doing their job. And this is perfect, exactly what happened here. But yeah, so there was that sort of thing. Then you had, which all this led up to Curtis Axel versus Kofi Kingston, because Curtis Axel, being Intercontinental Champion, had to defend his title. And they had a pretty good match. One of the better matches on the show. Wasn't a good match, but it was pretty good. Then we had the Divas title match. This wasn't very good at all. Yeah, we won't even. Yeah, this was bad. We had versus Del Rio versus Rob Van Dam. I thought this could have been, kind of a sleeper match. It was very clunky. The very hard to work with Rob Van Dam, and I love Rob Van Dam, but the very kind of clunky Rob Van Dam kind of showed up. It was still a pretty good match, though it ended crappily with a DQ finish when Del Rio refused to break his submission hold when Rob Van Dam got to the ropes, and then but Rob Van Dam ended up getting his his revenge, and he actually did a Van Terminator to Del Rio, which looked like it might have actually almost killed Del Rio, but I guess we'll find out about that later. I couldn't tell if it was a work or if he was just really selling it so that, to keep Rob Van Dam strong or whatever the case, but this was just, yeah, this wasn't very good. This was a Raw match. Then they gave us, yay, Fandango versus Miz, yay, yay, yay. No, this was just, it was sucky, like all of their matches usually are. We got CM Punk versus Curtis Axel and Paul Heyman. So who do you think booked this match? I wonder. I know this was pretty freaking great for a segment. Fans weren't really into Curtis Axel. They really just wanted CM Punk to beat the crap out of Paul Heyman, which he kind of got to do for a little while. Pretty much all what this led to was Paul Heyman basically being saved eventually by Ryback, which is perfect because Ryback needs really a mouthpiece. Paul Heyman is a great mouthpiece. Ryback just had to sit there and cut maybe 2 or 3 word promo or 2 or 3 line promos, and Paul Heyman can do the rest. And basically, yeah, this will be really good. This was, first of the whole thing, I really like this. I feel like this is something people should see because it was really good. It wasn't great, but it was really good. But it was something that I think even would have been more effective on Raw than would have been on pay-per-view, but what you gonna do? Then we had, because we were running out of time, we had Dean Ambrose versus Dolph Ziggler, which didn't go very long. And yeah, that wasn't fun at all because this could have been really good, and it was just kind of okay because it was kind of short. Then we had The Shield taking on the Primetime Players, who won the Tag Team Turmoil match. This, again, was just kind of okay because, again, they didn't have enough time. I think both of these matches could have been, I think Ambrose and Ziggler could have been really good to great if they'd been given time, and they weren't. But apparently Ziggler's in the doghouse for some reason, which I don't know what it is, but apparently he's in the doghouse. Primetime Players, they're kind of pushing the Primetime Players. They're the best guys in the ring, but, and Of course, Reigns isn't the best guy in the ring either, but Rollins is good enough to at least get a good match with all three of these guys in there. So, you know, it could have been better than it was. Then we got the main event. And again, you know, as I said, it got to the point because of the booking that they needed to, Daniel Bryan basically needed to win. Didn't think he was going to win. Didn't think that was going to be the thing. And, you know, the match felt like it kind of started a little later than it should. It definitely didn't get the time it probably should have. Still was a great match. Daniel Bryan did win, which was great. Everyone was kind of waiting for the swerve. We didn't get it. I imagine we'll probably get the Dusty finish tomorrow. Because yes, again, as I said, he will be on Raw. And, you know, if you follow me on Twitter, I actually said that, you know, Triple H needs to deal with Dusty's other child, the evil child, War Games. And, yeah, not that I think, you know, like I said, 10% chance. If it happens, I will go ballistic and I will mark out like a little bitch. I will not lie. I will mark out. But, anyways. But, Daniel Bryan won. I'm not sure exactly where it will go from here. I wouldn't be surprised if it seemed kind of like a fast count. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. And, you know, the announcers didn't really talk about it, so maybe it wasn't really a fast count. And Daniel Bryan will, you know, get stripped because of that. We'll get some sort of weird Dusty finish. I mean, he is going to be on the show, so that would kind of work out. But, yeah. Anyways, again, the show was, even with a great main event, the show was just kind of okay. Because the rest of it was just so lackluster and bad, and it was just, it felt, like I said, it felt like a Raw. And you shouldn't have to pay money to see a Raw. You shouldn't. That's just, I mean, I guess you kind of spend money to you know, see a Raw anyways, but to see Raw anyways because it is on cable. But you shouldn't have to spend, you know, what, $50 to see a Raw? Don't think so. But anyways, that's really all I got. Very lackluster pay-per-view. I guess we will see what the next pay-per-view is. The promo for said pay-per-view, which people have rumored since it started, because it's called Battleground, I guess is what it's called. Yeah, that we might get War Games. But if you look at the fact that Vince hates War Games, you also look at the fact that the seating chart for that has already, you can go and look at it. There's virtually no way they can do a War Games match with the seating chart the way it is, unless they don't do a real War Games match, and then who the fuck cares, honestly. I don't. But, I should say. But, it doesn't work as well, because there's a reason why there's 2 rings. It has to do with spacing, and it just looks better, and that whole thing. But, anyways. But it was basically a John Cena type promo commercial. But I guess we'll see. We'll see what the deal is. It was kind of weird, and then again, the whole Triple H thing throughout the show, it felt like he was trying to turn face, and it was kind of like, what the hell was going on with the, you know, he had a promo with Randy Orton, which kind of was like, that's a little weird, but anyways. That's all I got. So, I guess we'll see Raw tomorrow. But anyways, I'm out. Have a good one.